Hello and welcome to Freedom Friday, the July 24th edition. I know it has been a while since I have actually come on this year. Um, listen, I'm excited about a lot of new things that are happening. And, um, and I just want to, first of all, thank you guys who have supported me in the past and who continue to support me. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So let's just get right to it because I know it's a Friday night and we have a lot of things going on. Let me first thing make sure that I am on. Yes, I actually am on Instagram now. Yay! So normally in the past I've had some issues with Instagram, but they've actually made it more user friendly for um, for people who use streaming services. I use StreamYard, so good. So I just noticed I am on Instagram now. So welcome to my Instagram friends and family who joined me. So let's get right to it. So what we are actually talking about tonight is something has really been on my mind a lot, and I kind of saved it for the summertime. The topic, this whole thing about what is a conversation about gentle parenting. Kind of give you the pros and the cons of gentle parenting. And let me just say this: there is there's a lot of good things. I know some part of as far as my parenting. I have two children. One's a millennial, one's Generation Z, and I'm actually Gen Xer. So how I was brought up, my parents. I had good parents. I really did, but I'm just noticing there's a style that are things have changed, times have changed. So that, and I'm just going to put the disclaimer out here. I'm talking about the pros and the cons. Okay. Before I start getting nasty grams from different people or whatever, which I'm okay with that. I'm a big girl. I'm okay with that. But there are good and there are pros and cons to gentle parenting. So let's just kind of talk about this a little bit. So, what exactly is gentle parenting? Um, Gentle parenting is kind of approach to parenting that really puts more emphasis on being more empathetic, respecting, understanding, and kind of like setting boundaries. Gentle parenting is really it's meant to be more of respect and more of being empathetic versus what a lot of us came up with what they call authoritarian parenting style. And it can include strategies that you really kind of already familiar with as a parent, because each one of us have our different parenting styles, and that's okay with that. um, the aim of gentle parenting is to create a warm and a connected type relationship between the parent and the child. It can help the child feel understood and supported. Versus kind of we came up, it's kind of like do as I say, don't ask me any questions. And yeah, that's kind of good, but it's more of helping your child understand. Do as I say, don't ask me any questions. Um, as children are very inquisitive, right? So that's what gentle parenting is. It's really being more empathetic, being more warm, having a more closer relationship, which, in a sense, I probably did a little different between the oldest child versus I did my youngest child, because I remember as a child, a lot of things, don't ask me the questions. I'm like, why? I didn't understand things. And if you don't talk to your children, they won't understand things. So, it really kind of helps you further build that relationship with your child. Some of the pros, of course, is letting the child acknowledge their feelings, right? It validates your child's feelings. It really, even the negative ones, right? You have to talk about things. And even as adults sometimes it's not gentle parenting as adult, but you still need to learn how to effectively communicate with a child as well as an adult, and it helps them really to feel understood, right? um Using empathy, that is one of the components of emotional intelligence, if you know. And by the way, what I'm talking about, I'm always skilling you softly. The soft skill that I'm actually talking about is really relationship building. But this is more talking about building relationships with your children, right? So, using empathy, trying to understand your child's emotions, how they affects their behavior, um, as well as really being concerned, understanding your child's emotions, how that affects their behavior as well. You need to be patient as well. That's part of gentle parenting. A lot of times, we don't have patience. You have to have patience. Any parent knows you have to have patience with children. Be less demanding and commanding, trying to model the behavior you want to see. For example, instead of saying, tie your shoes, you should suggest, do you think you should maybe tie your shoes so you won't trip over and hurt yourself? So it's really kind of redirecting the behavior. We do can do this with children as well as adults. Instead of being avoid negative words, don't, can't, stop, bad. Use certain words with your child to help reinforce positive behavior. And of course, offer choices. It's okay if a child, if they encourage your child really to make choices, because this is one of the things as part of parenting, but it's also helped them as they grow older, because you do have choices, whether they're consequences or whatever. And we'll kind of talk about that as well. But those are some of the things as far as the um, pros of gentle parenting. Me myself, a lot of this I do anyway, even before I knew what gentle parenting really was, right? So, trying to use positive words, having patience, using being a little bit empathetic. And when your child asks questions, try to answer them instead of telling them to shut up or don't ask me any questions. I mean, that confuses a child, and that many times kind of like certain negative behaviors would come about of that. So, in a sense, this is what gentle parenting is really all about. Now, there are in some of this information, um, it's kind of like an article that I read back in, I think it was March of this year, from Psychology Today. And some of the things I agree with, some of the things I don't. But the majority of it I do agree with. But there are also some, disadvantage of what gentle parenting. Um, Gentle parenting is really considered, um, to most the newer generation. You see a lot of things about gentle parenting, as far as it's considered a kind of authoritative type parenting, being a dictator. That's what a lot of things, you see these TikToks, Instagrams, different things about people talking about, authority, how we were parent, basically putting it in a negative perspective. Um, and that is not true. you know some parents really report that gentle parenting just don't work, period. It doesn't work for their family. um it's just how it is. And you're not wrong. First of all, you're not wrong if you're not a gentle parent. gentle parenting is basically what I said. A lot of us do that anyway before they call it gentle parenting. I'm the kind of parent, I've never cussed at my child, talk real nasty. No, uh, you can't cuz I said so. So if that's the case, I've always done gentle parenting. But I'm gonna be honest, some of the cons of gentle parenting, some of these parents these days, gentle parenting has gone wrong. I'm just gonna be honest. Especially you can see it in the school system. I mean, even psychologists say that, has, linked, haven't really linked gentle parenting for better psychological children. But many of us, we actually, um like I said, I'm the ones before I knew what this gentle parenting was, that was a part of who I was. But like I said, in some cases gentle parenting has gone wrong. The number two, the first one was, you're not doing wrong if you're not a gentle parent. That's the first one. Second thing is, um, your child's behavior is not really a reflection of your parenting, the type of parent you are. You see parents interpret gentle parents. They mostly, the mothers, they feel intense. They feel like pressure um, on each interaction with the child. If child's behavior becomes a reflection of theirs, it's not really. So guess what? Really, the type of uh, really and truly, I have bad days. I'm not going to, the word they use is sometimes your child act like a jerk. Sometimes you as a person, you as a parent, you act like a jerk. That's basically what psychology said today. But basically it's saying there are some times you're going to have bad days, right? That doesn't make you a bad parent. That doesn't even make the whole relationship bad. Everybody, you just going to have some days where it's just going to be off, and that's just how it is, period. Okay? So another disadvantage or con to gentle parenting is it creates stress that none of us really need. You're so focused on trying to be the perfect parent. All this pressure and all the things that's going on today. I mean, it's just like you you under stress because you're trying to be this perfect parent. Guess what? There is no perfect parent. I mean, I'm just trying to be honest. Sometimes you just need to get over it. There is no perfect parent. Um, you let all that stuff build up. You don't say anything to your child, whatever, and you can see the behavior, and it just build up. That's not good, right? That's not a good thing. So stop stressing yourself out trying to be a perfect parenting to follow these gentle parenting, because it doesn't happen. You're going to have some bad days, period. Another disadvantage or another con to gentle parenting sometimes being empathetic just don't fix everything. Remember, it talks about being empathetic. Overall, yes, but sometimes it doesn't. This is what the article said. It's really funny. It says that another thing the psychologist said, I'm reading this right here. I see the guilt, self blame, and shame when we attempt as parents gentle parenting techniques and the child continues to do undesirable type behavior. Empathy and addressing emotions, underlying behaviors often do not eliminate the undesirable, because kids are just going to be kids, period. You can be empathetic and they're just going to be child. That's just part of being a parent, and a child just being a child, right? They have brains and nerve systems just like um, in a construction zone, right? And she basically said it was kind of funny. It's flimsy structure, electric wiring, not yet hooked up or hooked up, sloppy, and a disarray of tools without a toolbox and organize them. So it basically what you're saying is just constantly this is a child's mind, right? It's constantly under construction, period. But sometimes we just period. There are times and a place for everything, and sometimes empathy does not work. That's just how it is. The next con it talks about, or disadvantage of gentle parenting, is it can have a connection and consequences. Many times, punishment and discipline. That's one of the things, about gentle parenting. We, in the authoritarian type parenting, that's what it's called, like most of us were raised. Um, Punishment was one of the things that, you either got a spanking, which you have to be careful these days. They call it child abuse, but anyway, I digress. Maybe you take something away, or you couldn't go out as a teenager, you had to stay at home, no phone, what have you. That was a type of punishment. Well, the extreme gentle parenting, they don't believe in that. You shouldn't punish a child. But there's a discipline, there's a difference between punishment and discipline. Okay, it can go hand in hand. um, they're often confused in gentle parenting, in that gentle parenting type mode. Really, according to decades of science and study, this is just research they have done. Behavior tools are not automatically punishment, right? And can be very effective components of discipline. So, discipline teaches, punishment does not. There's a difference. We need to teach our children how to be disciplined. I mean, even from what I've seen, that's kind of like going out the door. Um, so there's a difference in that. You can have a connection and consequences, you know, with that. So this, I don't want to discipline my child. Yeah, you do. So and my thought on that is, as your child grows up, child, teenager, then a young adult, they have to learn discipline. And once I go through this, I'm gonna give you my take on this from a perspective as an educator, right? Because in the world, everybody know the real world we live in, right? You got to be disciplined. You just, especially in the workforce, when you start going to school, you got to be disciplined enough to really um, do going, especially at a high school, even in high school, college, writing papers, going to class. You have to be disciplined, and then when you go to work, it's a whole new ball game. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. So discipline is very important. You have to first of all learn how to discipline yourself. Teach your child how to discipline themselves, because I promise you, they're going to need it when they go on, as far as in school, the education, and especially in the workforce. Okay. All right. So basically, if you kind of go back and look over, gentle parenting is a good thing. I have gentle been a gentle parent before that, know that, certain things. But what's happening these days, I've given you the definition of gentle parenting. I've showed you the pros and the cons of gentle parenting. What is happening these days in the school system is gentle parenting gone wrong. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So, as most of you know, if you don't know, I'm a college professor. I teach college, but also since 2023, I started as substitute teacher. I started subbing, right, in Memphis Shelby County schools. My preference, of course, is high school. I sub some middle schools. And all honesty, I choose what particular schools I go to because of, number one, if you have great leadership in the school, I'm going somewhere with this. 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a good, the teachers, the students are going to be disciplined as well. They're going to be, it's going to have a great relationship. When you got good leadership, most times you have good school overall. When you have not so good leadership, many times the school is in chaos. So kind of pay attention to that, right? So I started subbing, and I started noticing the kids and their behavior and how they do homework. And this is from the top notch schools, rated all, they're like, as far as ranked five, and even ones to like 1 and 2. I sub across the board. What I'm noticing is A lot of things, but I'm going to stay on gentle parenting. We'll stay on the parenting, right? Relationship building. Um, Children are different these days, different generation, and I had to become well aware that some things they don't value as much as we do. For what I'm seeing, this is from schools from the best in Memphis to not so good. It seems like education is not important to them. Um, One of the biggest distractions, of course, is these little babies right here. This is my cell phone, smartphones. Some schools I go to, they want middle schools, they will not allow them to have in class. I think that's a wonderful thing because they're a big distraction. Now, high school is kind of hard. You have to choose your battles, but it's kind of hard to teach trying to teach, and your child has their cell phone out. Now, what I've noticed, and when we get to gentle parenting, many of these children, I ain't gonna say many, some of them, they don't understand what respect is. They don't know how to. You can tell they don't. They've never been given boundaries, um, respect, um, any of that, and it goes back to what's going on at home. I've had situations where I have children where it's not poor. It's not these kids that are poor in poor neighborhoods. I'm talking about these kids with $300 shoes, $200 jeans. Both parents working two jobs. They live in 1-2 story homes, $500,000 homes. These are not children that are just what you call poor children, but you can tell that how they've been taught is a lack of respect. There's a reason there's a plight of teachers leaving. There's a reason for that. First of all, I'm talking about the things that you don't hear on the news, right? I'm there. I see it all the time. Teachers are leaving, first of all, for a lack of support from the administration, from their principals and vice principals, because you have these children. Um, the parental involvement is horrible. Then when the child does something wrong, you call the parent. The parent is taken up for the child because it's always the teacher's fault. And they're doing that in front of the children. So what does that say in front of you? What kind of parenting skills does that say that the parent has in front of the kids? So I understand, like I said, the gentle parenting part of you raising your kids a different way, but these days and times, gentle parenting is they've taken to a whole nother level. You're teaching your child disrespect. What was some of the things we talked about? What gentle parenting was? Setting boundaries, showing empathy, acknowledge feelings. Well, do you not teach your children how to acknowledge that your teacher has feelings as well? Do you not teach your children how to respect adults? Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's some bad teachers. There's some couple of bad apples in the barrel, as they say. I understand that. But when you are raising your child, you need to teach your child how to respect, how to set boundaries as well, and learn discipline, because the way some of these children are these times and these days is ridiculous. And I see why teachers, I mean, are leaving. I'm just going to be real. I have seen situations with the parents, wait to the last minute. Teachers been sending information out all year long about the teachers failing, the child is failing. I mean, you want to come up here in April when your child might not graduate, but you didn't come up here all this time, when the teacher was telling you what was going on, and then you want to get mad at the teacher because they failed your child. No, your child failed because your child didn't do homework. And so what kind of parent is that? Are you can't leave your child to their own devices, right? You have to be a parent. you know do they have homework? Ask them certain things. Do you allow them to just stay on the cell phone all the time? Do you talk to your child? So not only we talk about a lack of parenting, it's not gentle or authoritarian, it's just a lack of parenting, period. So that's one of the things that we don't really discuss when we talking about the issues that are going on in the school system. A lot of it has to do with the lack of parental support, a lack of, you parenting your children to be disrespectful to adults and the teacher. It's not always the teacher. Your child is a child. They're going to do things. So, gentle, that's what I'm talking about now, is gentle parenting gone wrong, period. There's no excuse for it. Um, you can still discipline your child. Um, I'm not saying you have to be abusive physically or verbally, because you can actually be so verbally abusive and say nasty things to your children that does more damage than you actually physically punishing them. But we got, as parents, we got to get back on task. And from my research and what I've seen and observed, majority of the children that are in school, they're part of a generation now, which we haven't talked about, is Generation Alpha. So they are in elementary, middle school, and now entering high school. Majority of the parents of children in school are millennials. So this is the different generation that we're looking at, right? And I'm not saying that every millennial, as far as gentle parenting, but the majority of them do believe in that. And like I said, I don't have anything against gentle parenting. I have actually certain aspects of gentle parenting as a parent I believe in 110%. But when it goes to the point where your child is blatant, just, disrespectful, temper tantrums, entitled, thinks that everything has to go their way, you're constantly taking up for them. You don't actually, put them in a position to be successful. Because actually, when you let a child just do what they want, their own devices, and constantly getting them what they want, and reinforcing the behavior that's not going to help them in the long run, you're setting your child up for failure, period. Point blank. I mean, I can't tell you anything else. As far as what I've seen and observed, even when these children are graduating high school, going to college, um, they are struggling because they're used to a certain way. Our high schools, there's really a disconnect between the high schools and the colleges and the workplace. In all honesty, I have experience, and right now working all three, because we're not setting our children up for success to be adults in the workforce successfully. I even read an article about a month ago on LinkedIn about the recruiters. It is so difficult to hire some of the Gen Zs coming out of college because they don't have any soft skills. They don't know how to effectively communicate. They don't know how to build relationships. That none of that. So when they come to interviews, they can't even go through the interview to get the job because they don't have any people skills. So that's not good. I mean, and it's so the struggle to try to hire people. Actually, some of them are going back and hiring people who are either older millennials or even Gen X, my generation, because of the lack of soft skills. They may have the technical skills they need, but they don't have the soft skills they need. They don't even know how to communicate. It was even one part on there. So one of the children, one of the not the young adults, went on a job interview and brought their parent with them. I'm like, first of all, what parent would even go? I wish my child would ask me to go on an interview. First of all, I trained her at an early age on how to interview when she was in high school. So that's absolutely ridiculous. That's not even, I'm trying to figure out what parent would even do that. So, it's really crucial out here. There's some things can be done, but, parents, I mean, especially the younger parents, I know y'all don't like the way that some of the older parents do things, but y'all need to, this extreme gentle parenting just ain't working, because you are setting your child up for failure. I see, like, during prom time, you spend all this $5,000 more on a prom, and you won't even take the time that you go buying prom dresses, going shopping, to take the time to go to school because your child is failing. Did you know the United States was once ranked in the top 5 in the world as far as education? We are now number 13. Germany and what other country? I can't. Was the Netherlands? I think they have actually passed us as far as education. Of course, you always have China and Japan. They're always in the top 5, but we have went from number in the top 5 to now we're number 13. And all honesty, I know I'm talking about gentle parenting, but I'm just telling you what I see as an educator, as an entrepreneur, and as someone who has worked in HR. And I'm still part of SHRM. I still keep up with the latest things. I have friends who are recruiters, and it is really pathetic how really horrible the workplace is becoming when it comes to soft skills, when it comes to effective communicating. You're trying to hire this generation, but they don't even know how to communicate in an interview, so they can't even get a job, basically. Some of them cannot. So as parents, even if you don't have the necessary skills to need, make sure you communicate with your counselors at your high schools, or people you may have friends or people that are professionals, to mentor. These young people need mentors really bad. So, I say all that to say, sometimes it's not sometimes gentle parenting gone wrong as a child can lead to adults going wrong in the workplace or what have you. So, I firmly believe in gentle parenting, like I stated, but what I do not believe in is the extreme where you letting the child take over your life and you're not parenting them, because y'all see what's going on in the world today, right? So, so just to really top it off, some of the things, teach your child how to, of course, there's nothing wrong with, acknowledging their feelings, but you need to teach them about setting boundaries, as well as being a little bit more respectful. You know, Adults are not your enemy, especially older adults. I mean, that's another lab within itself. I can talk about that, but being a little bit more being more respectful and listening, because many of us have gone through some things. I'm 54. I'm not what you call old. I'm kind of like right in the middle. But we've experienced some things, and some things we may have done that we, wish we wouldn't have done, but we can share some of those things with you. So it's okay to listen to your elders, because we know quite a bit. We can tell you some things. Okay. All right. So I hope this kind of help you with the gentle parenting scenario and everything, the definition of it. And I want to just share some things with you. Let me pull up my PowerPoint here. So get this off. So if some of you know, if you follow me on my Facebook page, last in May, I had what I call my Life After 50, How to Reinvent Yourself. Let me see, can I do this? Hold on. It's kind of blocking some things. What's the best way to do this? All right, here we go. So in May, I had Life After 50, How to Reinvent Yourself. Listen, it was phenomenal. I'm working on some video clips to actually post some of those in there. So if you don't know what Life After 50 is, actually started off as a symposium. It was made for phenomenal Dr. Vicki Johnson actually was my speaker. And it was something that I've been, in the works for years now, and I just found like I just got to do this. But it actually was a symposium created, and the main, you see across the screen, the main purpose of it is to create a life that brings joy and peace of mind in this stage of life for women. Um, I have been told I'm the master of reinventing myself. So there's actually I launched last month a private Facebook community. So if you're interested in joining that, please send me an email. If you are connected with me on Facebook, it's Sarita Robinson Price. That's how you can find me. Um, Send me a DM me or send me an email so I can add you if you're a lady 50 and older. There's a lot of things I got coming up, and I want to make sure I share those with you. This actually symposium. It just was supposed to be a symposium. It's actually turned into a movement. I'm serious. That's how phenomenal it is. So we got some. I got some things coming up. Um, Apparel. We're going to have some coaching sessions in the fall. And just FYI, some of the topics, this is especially for my Instagram, I post a lot on Facebook, but some of the topics that we actually talk about and talked about, and if you, let's just say you want to a new change. Actually, when I turned 50 during the pandemic, and I decided I didn't want to do some things anymore. So I went to, career development. If you want to be an entrepreneur, maybe you want to go back to school. Maybe you want to learn more about technology, AI technology, health and well-being. You want to take more involved as far as your health, being more healthy. Maybe you want to write a book at this stage in your life. Maybe, like my best friend, you want to go into arts and entertainment. At age 54, she left her job with Atlanta to pursue her acting career, all counterparts. She's getting Hallmark movies, USA commercials, you name it. Or maybe you want to go into fashion. What I'm saying is, it is never too late to do what you want to do. Never too late. And so this is what life after 50 is about. And let me go to the next slide here. This is all of my information. So go to my website. This is my email address. Send me an email if you're interested in anything, as far as to know more about life after 50. Okay. All right. So let me see who's on Instagram. Hello, Mr. Pugh. Okay. And I see some more people join too. All right. So I'm glad you guys actually joined me tonight. I'll probably start back doing these once a month. I used to do them either first Friday or the last Friday. I don't know. I don't really like to set dates now, but just stay tuned more for information. You'll see I normally post it like a week or two before I decide to go live. And then sometime I may be impromptu and just, hey, go live anytime, but you never know. But anyway, thank you for your support. And you guys have a awesome and wonderful weekend. Stay tuned in for more information coming soon. And thank you for joining me. And I'll see you later. Bye bye. Peace.